What's up? We got Supergirl Season 1, Episode 13 for the girl who has everything. So this episode starts off with Kara waking up in her Kryptonian bed for some reason. And she's like, and we see this robot called Kellic waking her up. And then we see her mom, and she's like, what's going on? And she's like, it was 2 days since you passed out from the Argo fever. And she's like, Argo fever? What's going on here? And she's like, you died. And she was like, the Argo fever must have caused some really crazy hallucination. So yeah. So Kara's like, OMG, she's on Krypton. So yeah. So then James and Win are suspicious, and they're like, where's Kara? And the cat's like, where's Kira? If she doesn't get back, she shouldn't feel ashamed for the only reason why her son doesn't come to visit her anymore. So she's like, if Kara doesn't come back here, she's fired. So yeah, so they're like, yeah, we better call Alex. So they bust into Kara's apartment, seeing this weird, freaky alien with roses on it strapped to Kara. So then no one's like, the next preparation of Myriad will be complete. And she's like, yeah, now Kara has anything to say about it. He's like, I don't think she'll be saying anything. And she's like, and Asher's like, what did you do, Nan? And he's like, I gave her perfect fantasy. Nothing that she won't be able to tell real from fiction. And she's like, you used the Black Mercy on her, didn't you? So yeah, so Alex like, there's only one, so the Black Mercy won't keep, if they're like, we keep pulling this from Kara, she'll die. So like, there's only one person who could have done it. I'm immediately like, Astra. But Alex goes into Maxwell Lord's containment cell, and he's like, hey, Agent Danvers. And she's like, what'd you do? Keep beating him up. And he's like, what did I do? And she's like, you used Bizarro to try to kill Kara, and now you create another alien-like substance to do the exact same thing. And he's like, and I was thinking to myself, he was in your cell the entire time. We know that it's Nan, but I was thinking to myself, he was in their cell the entire time. How could he have done this? So he's like, I didn't do anything. And John's like, Hank's like, if you were lying, I'm gonna send her down here alone to beat you up. So then, so she goes back to Kara's apartment, and Asher's like, hey, I'm just here to be a friend. And she chokes her out, and she's like, hey, I'm just here to be a friend. And she's like, you did this. And she's like, no, the Black Mercy. And she's like, I want to protect my sister. And she's like, if Kara's your sister, and she's her aunt, what does that make them? And she's like, yeah, nothing. So it makes them nothing. So yeah. So she's like, hey, she got a call from James that Kara's about to be fired. So then John's like, okay, I guess I gotta transform into Kara now. And transform into Kara, and they're like, Kara, you're back. But she's like, yeah, not Kara. And he's like, and they're so, and she's like, and John's like, he's the leader of an alien military base. You think he thinks he can handle Cat Grant? Yeah, but while that's happening, Kara's back on Krypton, starting to lose her memories of Earth because Astra saw it, and she's like, I just fought you and Nan days ago. And she's like, what do you mean? And Zor-El's like, what do you mean? We put him in the Phantom Zone ages ago. him in Fort Ross or the Phantom Zone ages ago. And then Kal-El shows up and is like, hey, Kara, do you want to play this? And she's like, you remember this? And it's just like, the show got this kid actor who only shows up this one time. We don't consume here. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So Kara starts to lose her memories of Earth. So then they're like, hey, Maxwell Lord, we need you to build the technology. So yeah, so she's like, I know they're gonna try to pull me out. So you gotta try not to. So yeah, so Alex goes in and she's like, she's on Krypton. So she's like, Kara, and she's like, who are you? And she's like, she's her sister. And she's like, she has no sister. See, this is Kara losing her memories because over that period of time, I guess Kara's memories were gone. And she's like, we're back on Earth. And she's like, and then the guards are like, they're like, guards, send this intruder away to years in the Phantom Zone because I guess they couldn't use Fort Ross. They're like, send her to the Phantom Zone. But she starts pleading Kara, saying about how they're sisters and how the world needs Supergirl. And even though the world's hard and the world's tough, and she can't make, yeah. But what Alex said is able to get through to Kara, and Kara breaks through, and she's like, this isn't real. And she's able to break through, and then they pull her out, and she gets, and before that, Jean's like, pull her out. And he's like, and does his best Batman, he does another Dark Knight another Batman impression, but this time it's since he's channeling Dark Knight Batman, and he's like, pull him out. And he's like, take his hands off him, Mr. Olsen. Yeah, Jean, are you really trying to be your best Batman here? Because you're more sounding like the Dark Knight, and that voice was not that good. I'm not wearing hockey pads. People are gonna love me. What? Yeah. So, yeah, but then she starts saying about that. Yeah, so they hold hands on that table to break Kara from the Black Mercy's control. And she's like, and you're like, why'd you let me out? And she's like, I didn't. And she's like, wait, it's coming off of her. And she's like, who did this? And they're like, Non. So Kara beats up Non. And she's like, you made me lose them all over again. And you made me lose them all over again. My home. And Non just stands there letting punches be thrown at him until he's like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna let this happen. And knocks Kara aside, saying, so yeah, so then Astra and Alex get into a fight where Astra's like, where Alex is like, I know your heart isn't in this war anymore. Because you wouldn't hurt me, you wouldn't hurt, you didn't kill her, you didn't kill Kara, because you still love her. So yeah, so then she's like, I thought, then she looks at Jean, and he's Martian born, saying, I thought your people died. And he's like, I'm the last one. And they get into a fight, and she's like, you will serve a soldier's death, Martian. And then Alex uses a kryptonite sword through Astra's chest, killing her. Well, Astra, you picked a bad... I know this is a sad moment, but I'm going to make this joke. Astra, you picked a bad day not to wear that kryptonite armor that you were sporting in all the way back in season 1, episode 8. That made kryptonite weak to you. And where did where, I almost said Astra, and then I used that as ass. Where did Alex get the money or get the equipment to build a kryptonite sword? So yeah, so she's like, what's going on? And she's like, Astra, and she's like, what happened? She's like, there was an attack, and John takes the blame, saying, I killed Astra. she started saying about she said about Myriad, tell us to Myriad before it's too late. And then she said, it is too late. And Astra dies. So they're talking about how, so Astra may have been Kara's enemy on the battlefield, but off the battlefield, she's family. So Kara's taking it pretty hard. Who also will be probably taking it pretty hard? Chris Vance, aka James Whistler. Because I know I haven't called him that in a long time, but I like calling him that. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So yeah. This episode's pretty great. It was cool to see Kara's flashback stuff. It was pretty fast how Kara was like, on Earth, why can't you remember? And then immediately, as Alex shows up, she immediately forgets everything. But Alex, it's so funny that the guards are pushing Alex as she's trying to talk to Kara. They don't just hit her or do anything. They just keep trying to pull her. They don't just knock her out or anything. I didn't get that. But anyway, yeah. This episode's pretty good. We lost Astra. Sad. Alex got the money to make a kryptonite sword out of nowhere. But anyway, that was it for this video. And I'll see you next time for more of Supergirl.